listen to my dad. He's a beast. And if you don't want to listen to him, okay, you don't want to get successful. If you ain't trying to dominate, man, then go listen to something else.
Welcome, athletes, top performers, and all those looking to gain that killer instinct, that edge you need to dominate in any environment. This is the Sports Motivation Podcast, and I'm your host, Niyi Sobo. I played ball and succeeded at the highest levels, and I'm now committed to showing you how you can accomplish the ambitious goals and visions that you have. This podcast is designed to teach you high-level strategy, not just fluff and hype. This will cut to the core if you let it. And by taking action on the practical and next level advice I share, you will see results. Expect that. Expect to be more confident. Expect to be more focused. Expect to be more decisive. And expect to be more fearless. Expect to become the leader your vision needs you to become. So listen up. Take notes. Let's get to it. It's the Sports Motivation Podcast. It's me, Niyi Sobo. Real quick before we get into it, I've been meeting a lot of people who listen to this podcast. A lot of different ways. I see people out and about. I got friends, family, coaching calls. Maybe some of you might have even tried to sign up for my coaching program. People on my Facebook, people on Instagram. I'm talking to a lot of people who listen to this podcast. And so I don't know if this is your first time listening to this podcast, or maybe you're one of those people who listen every day, who eagerly anticipate the arrival of a new episode. First of all, I want to say thank you. And that's not no bullshit. I actually legitimately want to thank you for the bottom of my heart for trusting me, for valuing what I have to say, for taking the time out of your day to listen to this podcast. It means a lot, like for real. The second thing I want to say is this, and I apologize in advance if this is going to seem rude or if this is going to seem harsh, but one of my goals has been to start trusting my instincts more and to listen to my gut and tell people the truth, even when it hurts. And so the truth that I have to tell you listening is this. If you're listening to this with the intention of passing the time, like almost like you listen to music, I'm not going to go so far as to tell you to stop listening. What I am going to do is say this though, all right? Stop deluding yourself. Stop deluding yourself. So I'm not suggesting that every single practical thing that I say on these podcast episodes, because I am very practical. I tell you actually specific things to do. But what I find is that these people who I'm talking to who are struggling with the same things over and over again, they're listening to these episodes, but they're not actually doing what it is that I'm saying to do. Now, I'm not saying you have to listen to me, but I assume that you're listening because you trust me, right? And you trust that I'm going to help you get a result. Otherwise, you wouldn't be wasting your time listening to me. So my challenge to you is, can you start thinking about how you can apply this directly to your life and actually start doing it, like doing it? So when I tell you that you need to do something as simple as have some goals set for yourself with some specifically laid out plans to accomplish those goals, and you need to be reviewing those on a daily basis. That's pretty basic, right? Like you go back to episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 early. I'm talking about this. If you don't have this and you're still trying to look around for some more answers, like the answers are right in front of your face. It's basics. It's basics. I always talk about, people trying to lose weight. You trying to find all the supplements. But what you forget is that the key to losing weight is by eating less calories. Is this true or not? All my gurus out there, all the health nuts out there, you can talk as much as you want about all the supplements, but at the end of the day, if you eating a surplus of calories, you're not going to lose weight. So you need to cut the calories, right? And you need to exercise more to burn more calories. You need to be in a deficit, like they call it, right? So my point is, and I haven't even gotten to the episode yet, but I want to say this because start disciplining yourself to do something. Like do it. Like if I say something here that resonates with you today, like actually take time out of your day to go do it. Apply it to your process. because that's the difference. Those people who execute, not just listen passively. No, I'm not saying there's not any value in listening passively. Some things that I listen to, I put on in the background and things. But listen, you got to apply this shit. You have to apply it. You will see results. Your life will change as a result of what I'm telling you. And that's a promise. That's a promise. Your life will change. Your career will change. You will see results if you do what it is that you here to do. And you know what it is, right? You feel that. Anyway, get to the episode, man. I'm not trying to lecture y'all or nothing like that, but I felt like it was really important for me to say that because, again, man, I see these people and it's like you struggling with the same things. The answer is right in front of your face. Today, though, we're going to be talking about how to handle doubters, naysayers, haters. Have you had any of those things? Have you had parents, friends, teachers, brothers, sisters doubt you? Show their doubt. Say, I don't know if you should do that. They're scared for you, right? Maybe it's naysayers, people who are acting like you can't do it. Haters who going so far as to throw dirt on your name, to throw salt on your whole situation. Have you dealt with any of those things? You probably have. But there's also a percentage of people who act like they have a lot of haters when they really don't. What you really have is a bunch of, I don't know what you have, but you haven't really done anything to deserve any hate. Let's be honest, all right? A lot of people talk about they got haters, but they don't really have haters. But some people do. We're going to be talking specifically about how to do that, how to deal with that. I'm not going to lie. I used to judge people a lot when I heard them talk about how many haters they had. Because I'm like, what you talking about, man? Ain't nobody worried about you. But what I figured out is that, like, that's not necessarily true. There are people hating on you. There are people doubting you. But what I found out is that I think the way that I look at it was making me almost impervious, if that's the right word, or unaware of haters and doubters and naysayers, which I think in many ways has worked to my advantage. But let me not say that I have never been affected by haters and doubters. Just to remind you, there's a great book. What's that book called? Performing Under Pressure. That's what it is. And he talks about this human, like we are wired to care about what other people think. All right. So before you go thinking that you're someday going to become someone who has zero regard for the opinions of others, that's not all the way true. You're always going to have some regard. Now, the degree to which you respond to that and how much that affects you will be in your control. But this wasn't always the case for me. I'll tell you right now, one of the number one person in the world who can influence the way that I think and whose opinion can have a dramatic impact on me is my wife. It's a weakness of mine. It's one that I'm working to eradicate. Because sometimes when I have goals I'm trying to accomplish and my wife shows a little doubt, she's a little weary, I'm not sure, it affects me a lot more than it does with other people. So you're always going to have this. This is a fact. But what I'm telling you is, like, I'm going to be honest. I don't really care too much about what people think. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't care. Now, I do care to a certain degree. I'm not saying that no one's opinions can ever have a negative impact on me, because that has happened. I've told you guys when I was in high school or when I was in college, when I had my goals taped up on my wall, my friend came over. I used to cut hair. So he would come over, I cut his hair, and we were getting ready to go get something to eat. We went into my bedroom real quick. I had to grab my wallet, and he looks at my goals on the wall. He starts laughing, like literally laughing. My best friend laughing at me. My goals, like, man, you stupid. You about to do what? Because he actually was in a position that I wanted to be in. That didn't feel good at all. I can remember when one of my coaches in college told me that it was best that I didn't try to make it to the NFL, that it wasn't worth my time and energy, that I should just, save my money, save my time and energy, and just go get a job. That didn't feel good at all. It wasn't like I just marched right along and said, I don't care. Like, I felt the feelings, but I did do what I had to do afterward. But what I want to share with you now, first, before I get into the practicals, because here's the other reality. A lot of us try to jump into the practical things to do. We try to do the right thing. Like, you might try to go hit the gym several times and then wonder why you have a hard time hitting the gym. It's because your mindset's not right. You don't have the proper outlook on it, because once you have the proper outlook, self-discipline becomes a little bit less important. Now, again, I'm not saying self-discipline is not important. I won't go so far as to say that. Discipline is incredibly important. There's a great book called The One Thing, and this is, an area where I don't necessarily agree all the way with their philosophy in this way. When they talk about discipline is not important, although I get what they're saying. But one of the challenges for you and I, and this is a side note, as you read a lot of books, you listen to a lot of podcasts, I would be very wary of people going too much in extremes, okay? Meaning like it is no black and white here. Discipline is very important. Those people who say motivation is not important, that's a damn lie. Anyone who's done anything of significance understands greatly the importance of motivation. These things are all important. They must be combined in tandem. Your mindset, though, your mindset, the way you think about something determines your approach. So if you get your mindset right, you're going to overcome a lot of hurdles, a lot of energy that you won't have to expend. If you just get your mindset right, the actions sometimes follow. So I say that because I'm going to give you my mindset first. My mindset towards haters, doubters, naysayers, the one that's helped me out a lot, where I don't really pay attention to it a lot, honestly, because I believe what you focus on expands. If you go out looking for haters, you're going to find a lot of them. You go out looking for doubters, you're going to find a lot of it. But I don't really look for that. And here's my mindset behind it. Here's number one. Number one, I believe that nobody really cares that much about what you're doing. I believe that, honestly. Nobody really cares too much about what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying that to say that what you're doing is insignificant. I mean, nobody cares that much about what I'm doing. Let's be honest. You listen to this podcast, you're not thinking about me the other 23 hours of the day, right? You might hear something on this episode that rubs you the wrong way. You might say something to one or two people about it, but I guarantee you going out about your life doing whatever it is that you have to do. Nobody really cares that much about you, all right? A lot of times our ego gets so swolled up, we get all in our feelings about people thinking about us, doubting us. A lot of times that's not true. Nobody cares that much. Second thing is nobody really knows too much what they're doing, all right? So most of the time that the people who are doing the hating are those who are not very successful. They haven't done anything that you want to do, right? So if you're on a team, let's say I see this a lot. You're a top performer on your team, right? And you have a lot of the players underneath sort of saying stuff about you, hating on you, talking about you in the locker room. Oh, yeah, she thinks she's all that. She thinks she's so much better than everyone else. She thinks she's all cool. She has a little mindset coach and all this other shit, right? Those people they don't know what they're doing. So while it doesn't feel good that they're talking about you, they don't know what they're doing either. And this is what I told myself a lot as I see people talk about me and say little slick things about what it is that I'm doing. It's like, you definitely don't know what you're doing. So although I don't like the fact that you're talking about me, I don't really care too much because you clearly don't know what you're doing. You're not getting the result that I want. So why would I listen to you? Does that make sense? That's my mindset behind it. And I don't really give too much energy into that. Number 3, I believe there's always a message in the hate. There's always a message in the doubt. It's my job to find out what it is. So sometimes the message is that this person's really insecure. Maybe the message is that they're really scared for me. Like when my dad told me don't quit my job, he was really scared for me. It wasn't necessarily that he was hating on me. He was doubting whether or not I should do it. But he was just scared. He was scared for his son. That's legitimate. So I don't have to take that too serious. Does that make sense? There's a message. Sometimes the message is that maybe this is not the right decision to take. But it's my job to find out what that message is. And when you have that sort of mindset, you can take any sort of hate that you get, any sort of doubt, and you can analyze it. You can take from it what you want. Sometimes it's that this person has some malicious intent behind it. I haven't had too much of those in my lifetime. I'm going to be honest. I haven't had too many people in my life who I just felt like deliberately were trying to sabotage my success. Even the people who I did feel like that was happening, looking back on it now, they were doing that for their own reasons. Just like Jesus said, man, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Most people do things for selfish reasons anyway. It's what they're getting out of the deal. All right. So you have to find the message in the hate and the doubt. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. If somebody's hating on you, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Someone's doubting you. That's not necessarily a bad thing. When my wife doubts me, sometimes that might mean she just doesn't understand the plan that well. So it's my job to lay out the plan for her. Oh, babe, what's your concern? Oh, you didn't know? Okay, let me lay this out for you. Boom, boom, boom. By the end of this 6 months, we should have this in place. Boom, boom, boom. She's like, oh, okay, now I see. Sometimes it's not that. All right? My next belief is that no one's doubt means anything except for what I say it means. Now, that sort of reiterates what I just said, but it's like I decide what it means. I'm not going to just take it at face value. I'm not going to listen necessarily directly to my emotions, which come up when the doubt comes up. I get hurt when my wife shows doubt in my plans, but I'm not just going to listen to that emotion and have that be the final say. Because when it comes up, I feel like she doesn't support me. She doesn't understand me, but that's not true. So I decide what it means. I dig for it. All right. Another, part of my mindset is that I believe has been very helpful for me as I deal with doubters, naysayers, haters, and things like that, is that if I doubt myself, that's usually when I'm most influenced. Does that make sense? So when I'm doubting myself, that's when I'm most vulnerable to being influenced. So that's a red flag for me. When I start to doubt myself, I have to pay attention to that. Because if I'm doubting too heavily, I can be influenced by outsider that might not have my best interests at heart. So if I was very doubtful when I quit my job as a firefighter, my dad shows doubt, I'm going to be likely to be influenced by his opinion. And that wouldn't have been a good thing because you guys wouldn't be listening to me right now. Does that make sense? I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if I had been influenced by my dad. Critical. The last thing I think is very important to know is that most people don't think big, all right? Honestly, most people don't think big. And when I say think big, I didn't even want to say dream big because I mean think big. Like actually think thoughts that are grand, that are like heavy impact. Like I want to change the world type thoughts. I want to have wealth, like real wealth. I want to be healthy for a long time. Most people, they think very realistically. Like I want to do okay. I want to be financially secure. I want to be in good shape. I want to just have an okay career and, maybe stick it out for at least 2 to 3 more years. They don't think big, most people. So that means most people, even smaller fraction of people are the ones who actually act big. So most people certainly don't act big. You do not see people taking bold actions. So by the very nature of what I'm doing, and when I say I mean me and you listening, when you're doing something, when you're reaching towards a goal that's big, when you're actually holding yourself to a high standard, you should expect some form of doubt and hate. You should expect that by the nature of what you're doing because it's going to make people feel uncomfortable, right? And people are going to handle that discomfort in many different ways. They can be uncomfortable because it challenges them in what they're doing. They could be uncomfortable because they're scared for you. They're nervous for you. They could be uncomfortable for a lot of different reasons, but it's important to know that they're going to handle that all in different ways. All right? Critical. So now that you have a sort of inside look into how I see it, and I'm not suggesting this is the right way to see it, by the way, honestly. I'm just telling you what works for me. I've done some pretty cool things in my life. And the way that I think about haters, doubts, naysayers, and all of that, honestly, has helped me be very it's like I don't see it. It's like I don't notice it. I don't spend a lot of time dealing in it. And it's helped me out a lot. So now that I've showed you guys sort of my mindset towards it, here are some practical things to not do. Charlie Munger, the multi-billionaire advisor to and best friend to Warren Buffett, been called one of the smartest dudes in the world. He says, invert. So that means instead of always thinking about like what to do, sometimes you should start with like, what are the mistakes to avoid? What should I not do, right? And so there's 3 things that I believe you should not do whenever you start to get any hate, any doubt, any naysayers, people showing any sort of throwing salt on your game or whatever it is that you're doing, all right? Just 3 things. Number 1, do not try to force someone into believing your dreams and goals more than you. Don't try to force them. I didn't say you can't try to influence them. You can't explain. But whenever you try forcing someone into believing your dreams and goals more than you, to me, it highlights your insecurities. It shows that like you really actually don't believe too much. You see the best salesmen, are they trying to force a product down somebody's throat? No, they're very calm, cool, and collected. They don't try to force anything. Great influencers understand that. It's not about forcing. So that only is going to make you more frustrated. It's only going to, like I said, highlight your doubts and insecurities. I always like to use this example. I really like the rapper Wale. And it's funny because one of Wale's weaknesses, I believe, is that he can be a little bit, and like I said, we're all insecure. We all, we all want people to believe in us. We all want people to buy into what we're doing, right? But Wale will sometimes get in these battles. He can be like almost overly insecure about his status in the rap game. And so he'll actually go so far as to argue with people on Twitter about whether or not his album was good or not. So here he is, Wale, certified, superstar in the rap game, arguing with, Bunny Hop, 123 from Idaho, at Bunny Hop 123, who got 40 followers, and he's over here arguing with them about why he's the best in the rap game. How does that make you look at him? Exactly. That's how people look at you when you try to go out of your way to try to prove what it is that you're doing is the right thing, or why, you're the best, or why you deserve this and that. Don't try to force anyone. It's only going to make you more frustrated. The next thing is do not feel sorry for yourself and sulk. It's the worst thing that you can do. Self-pity is the ultimate weakness. Ultimate weakness. This is an emotion you must purge. You got to burn out of yourself. And it's tempting. I know it is. I know. It's very tempting. And it feels good temporarily, right? You get pity. You get people to feel sorry for you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Number 3, you must not allow their doubt, their hate to influence your desires or your goals, all right? This is critical. Critical. And we're going to talk about that more when I break down what to do. Now, I didn't say you shouldn't allow their doubt or their hate to maybe influence your plans or your method or your approach. Remember, I said there's a message in the hate. There's a message in the doubt. Everyone's like, if quote unquote, everyone's hating, maybe you ought to take a look at your plan. Maybe it's not the best plan, but I said you shouldn't allow it to influence your desires. Desire means of the Father. Desire comes from God. Desire comes from God inside of you. So if it's something you really want, you cannot allow their doubt and their hate to influence whether or not you want that or not. All right? It's critical. Those 3 things to not do. Now, what do you do? What do you do when you got this hate, got this doubt from people, whether it's someone you really love, whether it's somebody on Twitter, whether it's somebody posting on your YouTube, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your coach. Number 1, thank God that you are seeing objections. All right? Thank God. Read any sales book, they'll tell you. You're not even after 3 objections, you should be getting excited because that's when things are really starting to happen. So that means if you're trying to sell a product and someone says no, or they're showing some objections, they're saying, well, I don't know. That must too much money. What they're really saying is they need to know more. So it actually means they're interested. So thank God that you're actually seeing some hate. People are interested in what you're doing. Maybe it's a sign that you're on to something. So be thankful. Be thankful for it, all right? Number 2, this is critical. You want to review your master plans and your desires and your goals. Review them. That would imply that you have master goals and dreams and desires and plans. So if you have people hating and doubting on your plan or whatever it is your goals are, or whatever it is that you're doing, and you don't have no identity, you don't have any goals, you don't have any plans, you need to make them. Use the doubt to review your plans and see if it's really what you want. Because chances are when you see the doubt, it's starting to make you feel more doubtful, right? So that's when you got to go back to the drawing board and review your plans. And when I say master plans, I'm talking about the manuscripts. I have a total of about 5 binders that are fully organized with tabs, organizing my life in every single way. I'm not saying you have to go so far as to do that, although this is what my clients have. But you must have some sort of plan, something mapped out. Because the reality is that one of the reasons why people don't get that affected by hate is because they know where they're going. They know what they're doing, so they can look at the hate and say, it's all good. They just don't know. Like Jesus, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know the master plan. They don't know what this is all really about. They don't even know. Now, lucky for you, you don't have anybody trying to crucify you, right? You just got a couple people, saying maybe some negative things to you on the side. But having those master plans and goals and having a vision is critical, all right? So once if you've identified that it is something that you want, respect the doubt and the hate, and then look for holes in your approach. Look for holes in your plan. So if your teammates are hating on you, look for the reasons why. Like, why are they hating on me? Maybe I'm not connecting with them enough. So maybe that's a hole in your plans. Start connecting with people. Start aligning with people. Start making more friends on the team. Now, I'm not suggesting that's going to take care of everything. You're going to have some people who are just naturally going to hate. But look to resolve some holes in your approach. Remember, look for the message in it, right? Next is once your plans and your goals have been revalidated, once you've gone back to the drawing board and said, yes, this is something I want to do. This is the right plan, even though these people are doubting me, even though it seems like it's not going to work out, that have that feeling, I validated my plans. I've gone back to the drawing board. Now you must go find some people who can help strengthen your resolve. So find some people who can help bolster your plans, who can help give you more confidence. So find people who align with your vision, who see where it is you're trying to go. Don't be the dude spending all your time talking about how everyone can't see the vision and everyone's hating on you. Don't be that dude. That's one of my defaults. I'll go and be like, man, nobody understands me. That's one of my defaults. You cannot do that. Whenever I start to get in that mode, I got to very quickly remind myself, that's some bullshit. I got a lot of people who believe in me. I got a lot of people who understand my plans and my goals and my dreams, and I'm impacting and influencing a lot of people. So even though I may have some doubt, some haters, some naysayers, for me to focus on all of those is only going to magnify that. I'm going to see more of that. Because I focus on it, my mind is going to see it more. I don't want that. So once you find those people, you got to tell them your plans. You got to tell them your goals. Get them to buy in. Get more people on your team to buy in. Focus on those who do appreciate you, who do see the plans, who do see the vision. The next practical step, get your plans verified, all right? Get them checked out. You must have what Urban Meyer calls process clarity. Get some clarity on your process. Maybe your strategy is not legit. Maybe there's a reason, Wale, why people don't like some of your music. Maybe you need to go back to the drawing board and ask yourself, are you trying to please fans too much? Because if you're trying to do that too much, maybe that's one reason why they're hating on you. Either way, get your plans verified. Do that by finding a mentor, finding someone who's many years ahead of you, who has done what you're trying to do, and get your plans verified. Process clarity. Next, make sure that you're not hating, all right? Make sure that you're not a hater. Check yourself. Listen to your instincts. Listen to your thoughts, your instincts as well, and find the misalignment. What negative emotions do you feel about others with success? Are you overly judgmental? I can be judgmental sometimes. That's a problem of mine. I can sometimes look down at people. You got to be conscious of this and make sure that you're aligned. Your emotions are aligned. Your heart, your mind, all of those things are aligned. Lastly, keep grinding. Just do what you got to do, right? That's all you can do at the end of the day anyway. If you're going to wait for everyone to feel good about your plans and your goals and your dreams, you're going to be waiting a long time. If you're going to wait for all your teammates to love you, you're going to be waiting a long time. Now, just because they don't love you doesn't mean they can't respect you. And by you following this mindset, these things to do, these practical things to do when it comes to these doubters, these haters, you're going to position yourself as a leader. People are going to look at you like, man, how can you do that? Like, how do you do that? How do you keep going? How do you keep pressing on? Because you got a vision, you got a plan. And you got systems to deal with it, all right? So listen, don't be the person complaining and whining about how everyone's hating on you. Please don't be that person. Be the person who rises above it. Be the person who, like Joe Button said, is motivated by the hate, inspired by the love. Be more inspired by the love that you get, by the support that you get, the love that you get. And you'll be able to do it, all right? I'm with you on this journey. Let's keep going together, all right? Talk soon. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to the Sports Motivation Podcast. Make sure if you dig in the podcast, go and subscribe so you can always get the latest episodes. I come out with a new episode twice a week on Tuesday and Friday at 3 a.m. Eastern. And make sure you go ahead and rate it and leave me a good review. As always, I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon. Much love. One of the most common questions I get from athletes all the time is this: what is the single best thing I can do to reach my goals? How can I set myself apart from everybody else? Obviously, there are a lot of things, but the one thing that's helped set me apart was having a coach, a mentor, someone to show me the right strategies and how I need to do things specifically to achieve my results. So you could try to do it on your own, but you'll end up making many mistakes that could have been avoided if you had someone guiding you and coaching you along the way. 99% of athletes in the world have expert coaches to show them the things that they can't see. If you want to work with me as your coach, I want you to go to IMNOTYOU.com/SRC and learn more and sign up for a free coaching session. I'll give you 60 minutes of my time for free, and I can teach you some dynamic strategies, plus show you how you can secure me as your sports results coach. All I ask is that you fit in this criteria. You're serious about your sport, you're willing to invest the time and money, and you have clear goals of taking your game to the next level, or some sort of specific results you want to achieve. This is definitely not for everyone, and I have very limited spots available for this. So, if this applies to you, I want you to take action. Go to IMNOTYOU.com/SRC, and I guarantee you're going to take your game and your career to the next level.